सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणि नमोस्तुते.
Sri Devi Bhagavatam, Skanda 2, Part C. Here we will be discussing on the account of Ruru, on the death of Parîksit, on the Sarpa Yajña, and on the birth of Âstika. Chapter 9, on the account of Ruru. Parîksit said, when the Muni Ruru went to his room to sleep, his mind having become perturbed with passion, his father, Pramati, seeing him sorrowful, asked him, O Ruru, why do you look so absent-minded? Ruru was passionate then, so he said to his father, I saw a girl named Pramadavara in the hermitage of Stulakesha. I wish that she might become my wife. Hearing this, Pramati went immediately to the hermitage of Stulakesha and pleased him by various conversations and asked for her beautiful daughter, when Stulakesha promised that he would give her daughter in marriage on an auspicious day. Then both the high-souled persons, Pramati and Stulakesha, began to work in cooperation and make arrangements for marriage ceremony and collected various articles in that hermitage, when the fair-eyed girl Pramadavara, while playing in the courtyard in the house, trod on a serpent and was bitten by it and consequently died. Seeing then Pramadavara dead, all the munis of the place assembled and cried and wept with sorrowful hearts, when a great tumultuous uproar ensued. Though the life departed from Pramadavara's body, yet seeing the brilliant lustre of her lifeless body lying on the ground, her nourisher and father Stulakesha became very sorry and wept aloud. Hearing this cry of his, Ruru came there to see what had happened and perceived the girl, though lifeless, yet seeming alive and lying on the ground. Seeing Stulakesha and other rishis weeping, Ruru went out from that place and with a grievous heart began to cry aloud, Alas, fate has certainly sent this serpent as the cause of all my miseries and to mar all my happiness. Alas, what am I to do now? Where to go? When my beloved has fallen unto the jaws of death, I do not want to live any longer, bereft of my wife. Oh, what an unfortunate creature I am! I have not been able to embrace this beautiful darling of mine. I am deprived of kissing her face and marrying her. Alas, fie to my human birth! Let my life get out just now, inasmuch as I could not, out of mere shame, throw myself on the burning pyre along with my beloved. Oh, when death comes not to the sorrowful person, even when prayed for, how then can I expect divine happiness in this world? So let me now drop myself down in a lake or enter into a burning fire or drink venom or strangle myself by tying rope around my neck. Thus Ruru wailed much on the bank of the river, and long reflecting in his mind found out a way and thought what would be the advantage in death. Rather, an irrevocable sin would be incurred in committing suicide, and my father and mother would be sorrow, and they will feel sorry too. Seeing me commit suicide, my bad luck and enemies will be gladdened. There is no manner of doubt in this. What benefit will I, my beloved, gain if I commit suicide, or if I be distressed for her bereavement? Suppose I die, even then my beloved will not become mine in the next world. So there are many faults in my committing suicide, but there is no fault if I preserve my life. Thus, coming to a conclusion, Ruru bathed, performed Achaman, and became pure. He then took water in his hand and said, "Whatever good works, worshipping the gods, that I have done, and if I have performed with devotion the service to my preceptors and teachers and superiors, Homa ceremonies, Japam, Tapasya, if I have studied all the Vedas, and if I have recited Gayatri and worshipped the sun, then let my beloved have life and get up as an outcome of my punyam. If my beloved does not get back her life, I will certainly quit my life." Thus saying, he worshipped the Devas mentally and threw that water of his hands on the ground. Thus Ruru, with a sorrowful heart, was weeping. The Deva's messenger came down and said, "O Brahman, don't make this bold attempt. How can you, beloved, get back her life? The life period of this beautiful girl, born of Gandharva's sperm and Apsara's ovum, is now exhausted. Now look for another beautiful woman. O one of very dull understanding, why are you crying in vain? There is the affection between you and this girl. She died in an unmarried state." As this, Ruru said, "O Deva, messenger, I won't marry any other lady, whether my beloved gets back her life or does not get back her life. In case she does not regain this life, I will also forego my life at this instant." At this greatest importunity of Ruru, the Deva messenger became glad and spoke the following truthful, beneficent, yet beautiful words. "O Brahmana, I will suggest one way to you. Kindly hear. The Devas ordained this long, long ago. You can give up your half-life period, and with that you can make this girl alive soon." Ruru said, "O Deva messenger, I give half my life period to this girl. There is no doubt in this. Let my beloved get back her life soon and get up." The king said, "O ministers, at this time Vishwavasu, knowing that his daughter Pramadavara is dead, descended from the heavens in a celestial car and came to the place. Then the Gandharva king and the Deva messenger both went to Yama, the Dharmaraja, and spoke thus, "O Dharmaraj, this Vishwavasu's daughter Pramadvara, the wife of Ruru, the Rishi's son, was bitten by a snake and has now come to your place. The Dvija Ruru is now desirous to quit his life. So, O son's son, now let the girl again get her life." Through the influence of Ruru's brahmacharya, purity, as a consequence of his giving away half his life period for the girl. Dharma said, "O Deva messenger, if you want to make the girl alive again, let her get life as a consequence of half the life period of Ruru being subtracted. Go immediately and give the girl to Ruru." The king said, "O ministers, Yama having said thus to the Deva messenger, he went away immediately and made Pramadavara alive and handed her over to Ruru. Thus on an auspicious day, Ruru married her. Thus the Rishi's daughter, Pramadvara, though fallen dead, got again her life by proper means. So, O counselors, to save life, one should resort one's best duty according to the Shastras by the use of gems, mantras, and herbs and plants." Thus speaking to the ministers, the king Parîksit had a fine building of 7 floors in height erected, placed the principal guards around it, and stationed also the most powerful men well versed in the knowledge of monies, gems, mantras, and plants for protection, and immediately ascended to this building. To appease the wrath of the Muni Shringi, the king sent the Muni named Gaurumukha to him and requested him repeatedly, Let the crime of humble devotee be forgiven. Then, for self-preservation, the king brought from all sides the Brahmanas, who are perfect in their knowledge and application of the mantras. The minister's son placed the elephants in proper place so that nobody can ascend to the top of building. What more can be said than the fact that even air could not find entrance there when once ordered, no admission, what to speak of others. The king Parîksit remained there and counted the number of days of the serpent Takshaks coming there. He performed his bath, Sandhya Vandanam, and fooding. Even he consulted with his ministers and governed his kingdom from there. O Rishis, at this time a Brahman named Kashyapa, versed in the mantras, heard of the curse of the king and thought that he would get abundant wealth if he could free the king from Takshak's poison, and proposed to himself that he would go to the place where the cursed king Parîksit was staying with the Brahmins. Pondering this, the Brahman went out of his house on the expectation of wealth from the king. Thus ends the 9th chapter of the 2nd Skanda on the account of Ruru in the Mahapurana Srimad Devi Bhagavatam. Chapter 10 on the death of King Parîksit. Suta said, O Rishis, on that very day when the Brahman Kashyapa went out of his house, Takshak, knowing the king Parîksit cursed, assumed an aged Brahman's form and went out of his abode. The serpent Takshak met the Brahman Kashyapa on the way. Seeing the Brahmana versed in the mantras, Takshak asked him, Where are you going so in haste, and what for are you taking this trouble? Thus questioned, Kashyapa replied, I heard that the serpent Takshak will bite the king Parîksit. Therefore I am going in haste to the king Parîksit to cure him of the serpent's poison. I know the mantra that can destroy the effect of poison. If his life period is not exhausted, I will certainly give him back his life. Takshak then said, O Brahman, I am that Takshak. I will bite him and take away his life. So you better desist. Will you be able to treat him whom I bite? Certainly you will not. Kashyap said, O chief of snakes, when you will bite the king who has been cursed by the Brahman, I will no doubt make him alive by the power of my mantra. Takshak said, O chief of Brahman, if you have so thought that you will make the king alive after I bite him, then shew me your strength beforehand. O sinless one, I will bite this Nyagrodha tree, the fig tree. Just now make it alive. Kashyapa said, Certainly, I will make this tree alive. That will be burnt away by the venom of your teeth. Suta said, The snake Takshak then bit the tree, which was reduced to ashes, and asked Kashyapa to bring back that tree to life. Seeing the tree reduced to ashes by the fire of venom of the snake, he collected all the ashes and said, O highly venomous serpent, see today the power of my mantra. Behold, while you are witnessing, I will enlive this tree. Thus the great mantra knower Kashyapa took water in his hand and impregnating it with his mantra power, sprinkled the water on the ashes. Immediately on the sprinkling of the mantra, saturated water, the Nyagrodha tree got back its life as before. Takshak became greatly astonished to see the tree enlivened again and said to Kashyapa, O chief of Brahmins, what is your object in taking so much pains? Speak out what you want, and I will fulfill your desires. Kashyapa said, O chief of serpents, knowing the king cursed, I am going to do good to him by my knowledge and to get in return abundant wealth. Hearing this, Takshak said, I'll give you the amount of wealth that you desire. Take that and go back to your house, and let my desire be fulfilled. Kashyapa, the knower of the high estate, heard Takshak's words and pondered in his mind again and again. What is to be done now? If I take this wealth and go back to my house, my name and fame will not be known in this world, simply for my greed. But if the king be made alive again, my undying fame, abundant wealth, and greater punyam will accrue to me. Again, fee to that wealth with which there is no fame. So one must try one's best to preserve one's fame. The king Rakhu, in different days and in gave away everything of his to the Brahmanas for fame. The king Harishchandra and Karna did not hesitate a bit to give away endless property. There is one point again to take into account. How can I trifle away the matter, seeing the king burnt up by the venomous fire? If I can bring back the king's life, everyone will become happy. If the kingdom be without its king, the subjects will no doubt be ruined. So, following the king's death, sin will also incur on me due to the ruin of the subjects, and infamy will come on my head that I am a very greedy man. Thus, meditating in his mind, the highly intelligent Kashyap began to meditate and plunged himself in dhyana. He thereby came to know that the king's life period was spent up. Thus, knowing the king's death imminent, the virtuous Kashyapa took the desired wealth from Takshak and returned home. Thus, making Kashyapa to retire to his house, on the seventh day, Takshak went on to Hastinapur to bring death and destruction on to Parîksit. When he went close to the city, he heard that the king Parîksit was staying on the upper story of the palace, and the palace had been preserved by various gems, mantras, herbs, and plants. Takshak became very anxious and fearing lest the curse of the Brahman will fall on his head, became very much agitated and thought, how shall I now enter the palace? How can I cheat this stupid, hypocritic, vicious king, cursed by the Brahmana, who causes troubles to the Brahmins? Not a single man has taken birth in the Pandava family ever since that he coiled a dead serpent round the neck of an ascetic Brahmin. The king has committed a very heinous crime, and knowing the curse of time to be infallible, has placed sentries on all sides of the palace and has ascended to the topmost story of the building, thinking thereby to deceive death, and is staying in a peaceful mind. How can then he be smitten in accordance with the Brahmana's word? The king of dull intellect knows not that death cannot be prevented. For that reason, he has placed guards and sentinels round the building, and himself has got up the house, and is happily willing away his time. But he is quite ignorant that when fate, who can never be violated, ordains the death, how can it be prevented, though thousands of attempts are made to thwart it? The Skanda of Pandu family knows that his death is at hand, and yet wants to live, and therefore is staying in his own place with a tranquil mind. The king ought now to make charities and other meritorious works. It is only by acts of dharma that disease is destroyed and life is prolonged. And if that be not the object, then a dying man ought to take bath, to make charities, and to await his time of death. He thereby attains heaven, otherwise he is inevitable. The king committed great sin in the act of causing pains and troubles the Brahmin and other similar acts, and therefore death is so close that the Brahmin curse has fallen thus on his head. Is there no such Brahmin who can make him understand this? Or the Creator has ordained his death now as inevitable? Thus meditating, the chief serpent made other serpents following him assume then form of ascetic Brahmins and gave them roots and fruits to be taken to the king. The serpent Takshak himself entered within the fruits in the form of an insect. Then the ascetic serpents took the fruits and quickly went out of the place. They came to the palace where Parîksit was resting. Seeing them, the guards asked, "What for have you come here?" Hearing this, "We are coming from the hermitage to prolong the life of the hero king, the son of Abhimanyu and the son of Pandava family, by chanting the mantras of the Atharva Vedas, and we want to have an interview with the king. Now you better go and inform the king that some munis have come to see him. We will sprinkle water on him and give him some sweet fruits and then depart. We have never come across such gatekeepers in the family of Bharata as disallow the ascetic Muni visitors to go and see the king. We will ascend to the place where the Parîksit is staying and we will bless him and wish him long life. We will communicate to him our orders and then depart to our own places." Suta said, "Hearing these words, the sentinel spoke as previously ordered by the king as follows: O Brahmanas, we think verily you won't be able to have an interview with the king today. You all ascetics can come tomorrow to this palace. O Munis, owing to the Brahmana's curse, the king has built this place. Then it follows as a matter of course that the Brahmanas are not allowed to get up to the palace." Then the serpents in the form of Brahmanas spoke, "O good sentinels, then take these roots and fruits and offer them to the king and communicate to him our blessings." The sentinels went to the king and informed him of the arrival of the ascetic Brahmanas. The king replied, "Bring here the roots and fruits offered by them and ask what for they have come. Give them my pranams. Today I cannot meet with them. Let them come tomorrow morning." The sentinels went to the ascetics and got from them their roots and fruits and offered them with great respect to the king. When the serpents in the guise of the hypocritic Brahmins went away, the king took those fruits and spoke to his ministers, "Take these fruits and let all my friends eat them. I will take only this one fruit given by the Brahmins and will eat it." Saying this, the Uttara's son Parîksit gave away fruits to the friends and took one ripe fruit for himself, broke it and saw within it a very fine copper-colored black-eyed insect. At this the ministers were astonished. The king spoke to them, "The sun has set, so there is no further chance of any fear from any poison today. I speak then today, fearing the Brahmana's curse, let this insect bite me." Thus saying, the king took that insect and placed it on his neck. That Takshak in the form of an insect, when placed during the sunset on the neck of the king, immediately assumed the form of the terrible Kala, death, coiled round the king and bit him. The ministers were greatly surprised and began to weep and cry with great pain and sorrow. Seeing the terrible serpent, the ministers, overwhelmed with terror, fled away on all sides. The guards cried out loudly. The terrible outcry was raised on all sides. Then Uttara's son, the king Parîksit, coiled by the serpent, saw that all his efforts were rendered fruitless and remained silent and held fast to his patience. From the mouth of the serpent Takshak, the terrible venomous flames came out, burning all, and immediately killed the king. Thus, taking away the life of the king, Takshak went up in the celestial atmosphere. The people then saw that the serpent was ready as if to burn the world. The king fell down lifeless like a burnt tree, and all the persons cried out, seeing the king dead. Thus ends the 10th chapter of the second Skanda on the death of the king Parîksit. in the Mahapurana Srimad Devi Bhagavatam. Chapter 11 on the Sarpa Yajña. Suta said, O Munis, seeing now the king lifeless and his son a mere boy, the ministers themselves performed all his funeral ceremonies. First they burnt the king on the banks of the Ganges without uttering any mantra, as his death was an accidental one due to snake bite. Afterwards they had an effigy of the king made of kusha grass and placed it on a funeral fire and burnt it with sandal and scented wood. The priest then performed and completed his funeral obsequies, repeating duly the Vedic mantras, and distributed various things in charities to the Brahmins, together with sufficient quantity of gold and varieties of food and clothing, so that the king may attain heaven. Next, an auspicious moment, the ministers installed the boy prince on the throne that gladdened the hearts of the subjects, and all the populace of the city, towns and villages acknowledged the boy prince Janmejaya, endowed with all royal qualities, as their king. The Dattatreya gave all instructions to the king about his duties. The boy prince gradually grew in years and became endowed with great intellect. When Janmejaya became 11 years old, the family priest initiated him duly with the Gayatri mantra, and he also studied it duly. Then Kripacharya taught him perfectly the science of archery, as Dronacharya taught Arjuna and Parsurama taught Karna. Janmejaya learnt by all the sciences and became very powerful and indomitable to his enemies, as he was skilled in the science of archery. He was similarly in the other branches of the Vedas. Truthful, self-controlled, religious, the king Janmejaya acquired full knowledge in the Dharmasastras and Ardhasastras and governed his kingdom like the Dharma's son Yudhishthira. The king of Kashi gave his all auspicious daughter Vapusthama in marriage to the king Janmejaya, wearing golden coat of armor. The king Janmejaya, with the beautiful Vapusma, casting sidelong looks, looked very happy, as was the king Vichitravirya when he got for his wife the daughter of Kashiraj, and also when Arjuna got his Subhadra. Then the king began to enjoy his lotus-eyed Vapusthama in forest and gardens like Satakratu and Sachi. The able ministers conducted satisfactorily the reins of government, and the subjects, well governed, passed away their time with cheerful hearts. In the meanwhile, a Muni named Uttanka, being much troubled by Takshak, thought who could help him in his taking revenge on Takshak, and seeing the king Parîksit's son, the king Janmejaya, a proper person, came to Hastina to the king and spoke out thus: O good king, thou dost not know when to do a thing that ought to be done. Thou art doing at present what ought not to be done, and thou art not doing what should be done now. There is nothing of anger or energy within thee. Thou dost things as a child does. So thou dost not know the meaning of the Shastras, nor dost thou know thy former enemy. So what shall I pray before thee? Hearing this, Janmejaya said, O highly fortunate one, I do not know who is my enemy. What wrong is there to be redressed? Please speak out what I am to do. Uttanka said, O king, the wicked Takshak killed thy father. Ask about the death of thy father from thy counselors. Hearing these words, the king Janmejaya asked his ministers. They replied, Their father died out of the snake Takshaku's bite. Then the king spoke, The cause of my father's death is the Brahman's curse. What is the fault of Takshak in this matter? Please say. Uttanka said, it was Takshak that gave abundance of wealth to Kashyapa, who was coming to cure thy father of Takshaka's poison, and made him desist from his purpose. So, O king, is not that Takshak then thy father's great enemy and his slayer? O king, in former days, when Pramadavara, the dearest wife of the Muni Ruru, died of snake bite in her unmarried state, Ruru made her alive again. But Ruru made then the promise, whichever serpent will see, I will take away its life by striking it with a club. O king, thus making the resolve, he began to kill snakes wherever he found with his club, and thus in his course of travel all round the earth he saw within a forest an aged terrible water snake, Danda serpent, and immediately lifted his club to kill it, and angrily struck a blow on it. When the snake replied, O Brahmana, why are you striking me thus? I have not caused any offence to you. Ruru said, O serpent, my dearest wife died of snake bite. Since then I have made this resolve, under great provocation and sorrow, to kill snakes. Hearing this, the water snake Dundubas replied, I do not bite. Those who bite are a different class of snakes. Simply on account of my bearing a body similar to them, that will strike me is not quite proper. Hearing these beautiful humane words from the mouth of a serpent, Ruru asked, Who are you? Why have you become this Dunduba snake? The snake replied, O Brahmana, I was formerly a Brahman. There was a friend of mine named Khayas, very religious, truthful and self-controlled. Once he was staying in his Agnihotra room, and I foolishly terrified him much by placing before him an artificial snake created by me of the leaves of trees. He became so much bewildered with fear and shuddered so terribly that he at length cursed me, saying, O one of blunt intellect, as you have terrified me by this snake having no poison, so you better be a snake of that type. Immediately I turned into a snake, and when I much entreated that Brahmana, his anger abated a little, and he said again, O snake, Pramati's son Ruru will no doubt free you of this curse. I am that snake, and you are also that Ruru. Now hear my words in conformity with Dharma. The highest Dharma of the Brahmana is not killing. There is no doubt in this. The wise Brahmanas ought to show mercy to all. No harm or killing is to be committed anywhere except in yajña. Killing is only allowed in a yajña, for at that sacrifice the animal killed attains the highest goal. Hence killing in sacrifice is not reckoned as an act of killing. Uttanka said, that Brahmana was then freed of the serpent body, and Ruru too desisted from killing since then. O king, Ruru gave life back to that girl and married her, but even then, remembering the former enmity, he killed the snakes. But O chief of Bharata's family, thou art staying without any care, without any anger to the snakes, and without any revenge to the previous wrong. O king of kings, thy father died high up in the air without any faith or charity due to be done at the time of death. So rescue thy father by killing his enemies, the snakes. That son is dead, though living, who does not consider the act of his father's enemy as inimical. Until thou dost kill the snakes, thy father's enemies, thy father's whole life will not be freed. O king, now remember the wrong done to thy father and perform the sacrifice to the great mother, denominated as the Sarpa Yajña. Suta said, hearing the words of Uttanka, the king Janmejaya sadly wept and shed tears and thought within himself, Alas, fie to me! I am a great stupid, hence I feel myself proud, but in vain. Where can his honor be, whose father, bitten by a snake, has gone down to hell? Now I will no doubt commence the Sarpa Yajña and ensue the destruction of all the snakes in the blazing sacrificial fire, and thus deliver my father from hell. Thus coming to a conclusion, he called all his ministers and said, O ministers, better make arrangements duly for a great sacrifice. Have a suitable holy site on the banks of the Ganges, selected and measured by the Brahmanas, and have a beautiful sacrificial hall built upon the 100 pillars, and prepare a sacrificial altar within this. O ministers, when all these preliminaries will be completed, I will commence the great Sarpa Yajña. In that yajna, the snake Takshak will be the animal victim, and Uttanka, the great Muni, will be the sacrificial priest. So invite early the all-knowing Brahmins versed in the Vedas. Thus, at the command of the king, the able ministers collected all the materials of the sacrifice and prepared a big sacrificial altar. When the oblations were offered on the sacrificial fire, calling on the snakes, Takshak became greatly distressed with fear and took refuge of Indra, saying, Save my life, Indra. Then gave hopes to Takshak, trembling with fear, and made him sit on his asana, encouraged him with words, No fear, O snake, do not fear any more. The Muni Uttanka, seeing that Takshak had taken Indra's protection and that Indra had given him hopes of no fear, called on Takshak with Indra to come to fire with an anxious heart. Takshak, then seeing no other way, took refuge of the greatly religious Âstik, the son of the Muni Jaratkaru, born of the family of Yayavara. The Muni's son Âstik came to the sacrificial hall and chanted hymns in praise of Janmejaya, the king. Too, seeing the Muni boy greatly learnt, worshipped him and said, What for you have you come? I will give you what you desire. Hearing this, Âstika prayed, O highly enlightened one, let you desist from this sacrifice. The truthful king prayed thus again and again, stopped the Sarpa Yajña to keep the Muni's word. Vaisapanya then recited the whole Mahabharata to the king to cheer up his heart. But the king, hearing the whole Mahabharata, could not find peace and asked Vedavyasa, How can I get peace? My mind is constantly being burned with sorrow. Say, what am I to do? I am very miserable. Hence my father Parîksit, the son of Abhimanyu, has died an unnatural death. O lucky one, see that a Kshatriya's death in a deadly battlefield or in an ordinary battle is praiseworthy. Even his death in his own house, if followed up according to natural laws and with ease, is commendable. But my father did not die such a death. Under the Brahmana's curse, why did he, quite senseless, quit his life high up in the air? O son of Satyavati, now advise me so that my father, who is now in hell, can again go up to the heavens, and that my heart may find its way to peace. Thus ends the 11th chapter of the second Skanda on the Sarpa Yajña in the Mahapurana, Srimad Devi Bhagavatam. Chapter 12 on the birth of Âstika. Suta said, Hearing these words of the king, Vyasadeva, the son Satyavati, addressed to him before the assembly. Thus, O king, I am now reciting to you a Bhagavata Purana, holy, wonderful, filled with many anecdotes, and leading to auspicious results. Listen, before I made my son Sukha duty this Purana, O king, I will now recite before you that highest Purana with all secrets contained therein. I have extracted this from all the Agamas. It brings in Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Hearing this gives always happiness and good results. At this Janmejaya said, O Lord, Whose son is this Muni Âstika? Why did he come as an obstacle in my Sarpa Yajña? And what object had he in preserving the snakes? O highly fortunate one, kindly describe all this in detail. After this recite, the Purana also in detail to me. Vyasadeva said, O king, in former days there lived a Muni named Jatakaru. He always remained in the path of peace and did not marry. Once he saw in a cave in a forest his father and forefathers' pendant. They spoke to Jatakaru thus, O son, marry, we will thereby be greatly pleased. If there be a son of good character born to you, we all will be freed from all troubles, and we would then able to go to heavens. Herein this Jatakaru said, O forefathers, if I get a girl of my name without begging and asking, and if she be entirely obedient to me, I will marry and lead a householder's life. Thus I have spoken truly to you. Thus saying to his forefathers, Jatakaru went on tour to the holy places. Now it happened so that at that very time Kadru, the mother of snakes, cursed her sons, saying, May you be burnt by fire. The matters of this incident run as follows. At that moment Kadru and Vinita, the two co-wives of Kashyapa, saw the horses yoked in the chariot of the sun, and thus argued with each other. Kadru, seeing the sun's horse, first asked Vinita, O good one, tell me soon, what is the color of this horse? Vinita said, O auspicious one, what do you think? I said the color of the horse is white. You also better say beforehand what is its color. We will then lay a wager. Kadru said, O smiling one, I think the horse is black. Now come, let us challenge. Whoever will be the defeated will become the slave of the other. Thus saying, Kadru told her sons that were obedient, Cover by your bodies all the pores of the body of the horse of the chariot of the sun, so it may look black. Go and do it. At this some snakes replied, That cannot be. Kadru then cursed them, saying, Let you all fall on the sacrificial fire of Janmejaya. Then the other snakes tried to please their mother and coiled round the back of that horse, so that the horse began to look black. Kadru and Vinita, the two co-wives, went together and saw the horse. Vinita saw it black and became very sorry. Now Garuda, Vinita's son, very powerful and endurer of snakes, was passing that way, and seeing his mother very distressed, asked her, O mother, why do you look so very sorry? It seems as if you are weeping. Aruna, the charioteer of the sun, and I myself are your two sons living. Feed to you us that while we are living, you will have to suffer pains. O beautiful one, if mother suffers while the son is living, then what use is there in having such a son? So, O mother, give out the cause of your grief, and I will remove it at once. Herein this Vinita said, O son, what shall I say to you of my misery? I am now became the slave of my rival wife. By some pretext she defeated me and is now telling me to carry her on my back. O son, for this reason I am sorry. Hearing these words, the mother Garuda said, Very well, I will carry her on my shoulders wherever she wishes to go. O auspicious one, you need not be worried. Sorry, I will remove all your cares. Vyasadeva said, Thus spoken to by Garuda, Vinita went to Kadru. At that time the highly powerful Garuda went there also to free his mother of her slavery, and carried Kadru with all her sons on his back to the other side of the ocean. When Garuda went across the ocean, Garuda spoke to Kadru, O mother, I bow down to thee. Kindly say how my mother can be freed of your slavery. Hearing this, Kadru said, O son, if you can bring today by your sheer force and nectar from the Devaloka and give it to my sons, then you will be able to free your helpless mother. When Kadru said so, the highly powerful Vinita's son Garuda immediately went to the abode of Indra and, fighting hard, stole away the jar of nectar and brought and gave it to Kadru, and freed his mother Vinita from the slavery of Kadru. In the meantime, the snakes went for their bath, after which they would drink the nectar. Indra stole away the jar which contained nectar. O king, thus by the sheer strength of arms of Garuda, Vinita was freed of her slavery. On the other hand, when the snakes returned from their bath and found that there was no jar of nectar, they began to lick the kusha grass over which the jar of nectar was kept, thinking that they would thereby get some drops of nectar which might have tricked over. And the result was that by the sharp edges of kusha grass, the tongues of all the snakes were cut asunder into two. Hence the snakes are called Dvijahava. The snake Vasuki and others, whom Kadru, the mother of snakes, cursed, went to Brahma and took his refuge and informed all of them the cause of their terror, the curse from their mother. When Brahma spoke to them, go and give the sister of Vasuki, named Jatakaru, in marriage to the great Muni Jatakaru. In her womb, a son named Âstika will be born, and he will certainly deliver you from your difficulties. Hearing those beneficial words of Brahma, Vasuki went to the forest and requested humbly the great Muni Jaratakaru to accept in marriage her own sister. When the Muni, knowing the girl to be of his name, spoke out thus, but when your sister will act against my wishes, I will forsake her at once. Under these conditions, the Muni married her, and Vasuki, after giving her sister in marriage according to her own wishes to the Muni, returned to her own abode. O tormentor of foes, when the Muni Jatakaru built a white hut of leaves in that great forest and began to pass his days happily in enjoyment with his wife, once an occasion, after he had taken his dinner, he slept and told his wife not to awaken him under any circumstances, and fell fast asleep. The beautiful sister of Vasuki sat by his side. When the evening time came and the sun began to set, the Vasuki's sister Jaratakaru became afraid at the thought that the evening Sandhya might not be performed by the Muni, and thought thus, what am I to do now? My heart finds not rest if I do not awaken him. And if I awaken him, he will forsake me at once. Now if I do not awaken him, the evening will pass away to no purpose. Whatever it be, if he quits me or if my death ensues, that is better than the non-observance of dharma. For when dharma is destroyed, hell ensues. Thus thinking, the girl awakened him, saying, O one of good woes, it is evening time, so get up. The Muni got up in great anger and addressed his wife, when you have disturbed my sleep, I now go away from you. You also better go to your brother's house. When the Muni said so, Vasuki's sister spoke out, trembling, O one of indomitable luster, how will the object be served for which my brother has given me in marriage with you? The Muni then spoke firmly to his wife Jaratakaru, that is within your womb. Jaratakaru, then forsaken by the Muni, went to the abode of Vasuki. When her brother Vasuki asked her about her son, she said, the Muni has forsaken me, saying that the son is within your womb. At this Vasuki trusted and said the Muni won't ever tell lies, and gave shelter to his sister. O Kuru Astama, after some time, a famous boy named the Muni Âstika was born. O king, that Muni boy, the knower of the truth, had desisted you from your sacrifice of snakes for the preservation of his mother's family. It is well and good befitting you that you respected the words of the Muni Âstika, born of Yavara family and the cousin of Vasuki. O mighty armed, let all auspicious come to you. You have heard the whole Mahabharata and gave away lots of things in charities. You have worshipped innumerable munis. But, O king, though you have done so many good things, yet your father has not attained heaven and you have not been able to sanctify your family. So King Janmejaya, now install a capacious temple of the Devi with the highest devotion. Then all your desires will be fulfilled. The all auspicious Devi, the giver of all desires, makes the kingdom more stable and increases the family, if she be always worshipped with the highest devotion. O king, you better perform duly the Devi Yajña, Jyotistoma and others pleasing to the Devi, and hear the great Purana, Srimad Devi Bhagavatam, filled with accounts of the glorious deeds of the Devi. I will make you hear now that divine Purana, filled with various sentiments, highly sanctifying and capable to carry one across this ocean of world. O king, there is no other subject in this world worthy to be heard than the above Purana, and there is no other thing to be worshipped than the lotus feet of the Devi. O king, those are certainly fortunate, those are intelligent and blessed, in whose hearts of love and devotion reign always the Devi Bhagavati. O illustrious shrine of the Bharata's family, know them to the always afflicted with troubles, who do not worship in this world the great mother Mahamaya. O king, who is there that will not worship her when Brahma and all the Devas are always engaged in her devotional service? O king, he who hears always this Purana gets all his desires fulfilled. In former days, Bhagavati herself spoke this excellent Purana to Vishnu. O king, your heart will be appeased and become peaceful when you hear this, and as a result of your hearing this Purana, all your ancestors will attain endless heavenly life. Thus ends the 12th chapter of the second Skanda on the birth of Âstika in the Mahapurana, Srimad Devi Bhagavatam.
न मन्त्रं नो यन्त्रं तदपि च न जाने स्तुतिमहो न चाह्वानं ध्यानं तदपि च न जाने स्तुतिकथाः न जाने मुद्रास्ते तदपि च न जाने विलपनं परं जाने मातः त्वदनुसरणं क्लेशहरणम्